On the list of things I know for sure, right under Addison Rae deserves more commercial success and Labubu's. Labubus are an industry plant. There, I said it.
That I know.
Is Sims players will be upset. And right now, they're highly concerned, emotional, likely crying on the bathroom floor as we speak. About Paralives. I know this is a mess already, but before we get into it, a quick word from our sponsor, Instant Gaming. Some of you may know I recently went under the knife and Instant Gaming... It saved my life. Cause on Instant Gaming, I purchased Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, and while I was pillaging, murdering, and destroying entire cities, I could escape the debilitating pain caused by my BBL. And I want you guys to have the same luxury. Instant Gaming has a huge library of games to peruse, and you can get them all at amazing discounts. So head over to Instant Gaming using the link in the description, and I'll receive a commission on your purchase. Thank you to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. So the Sims community has always been a little weird about Paralives. Do you remember back in 2020 when some Sims content creators were basically saying Paralives was a scam?
Recently, a YouTuber named Fake Gamer Girl put out a video where she speculated about the possibility that Paralives could be a scam and that we need to be more cautious.
That was definitely an interesting take. And last year, when Paralives announced that it will never have paid DLC, the Sims girlies were shocked and disturbed.
And then the other thing that kind of scares me is this Paralives will never have paid DLCs promise. I'm just kind of nervous. Like, what if it comes out and they're like, actually, we're gonna do like this paid content because a lot of games have been doing that recently, so I'm scared.
Clap if you care.
They simply could not fathom a game not having 100 DLC that cost over $1,000 to buy. So it all makes sense that just a few days ago when Paralives released its early access trailer along with the release date, the Sims community lost it. If you missed that first part, Paralives announced that early access is coming this year on December 8th. And somehow that date itself has made Sims players furious. One person on Twitter wrote, "No offense, but y'all really put it at the end of the year just to not have lied about the 2025 date." I'm sorry, where is the outrage coming from? Because last year they said early access is coming this year, and now you're mad that it's actually coming this year? Do you also get mad every time the clock ticks, and do you scream at the sun when it rises in the morning? By the way, not to be messy, but I just realized this is the same person who called me mentally ill a few months ago, which Sims4 Twitter ate up. So it kind of makes sense that this person has terrible opinions along with all the others in the Sims community who liked that post. Oh, speaking of Simmer Erin, actually, if you don't know who she is, she's like a Sims news channel and she often talks about Paralives. But someone left this comment a few videos back about how she made this video discussing Paralives' monetization strategy.
Overall, the Paralives team should consider other forms of monetization, such as a merch store if they need to.
What's that mean, honey? What you trying to say?
She, as well as so many people in the Sims community, have been very concerned about how Paralives is gonna make money. And my question is, and excuse my bluntness, why the fuck do you care?
She's furious.
Are you Paralives' accountant? Are you their sugar baby? Why in the hell are you so concerned with how they're gonna make money? Someone on Twitter wrote, "You're offering a lot of content for free, which doesn't really seem sustainable without a hefty initial price or microtransactions." And another person said, "If this is all base game early access, I would 100% pay for expansions, and I think most people would. I hope this game can sustain itself with only base game sales."
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me. Okay.
And in Simmer Erin's video, she talked about how other games that follow similar models have had to monetize in other ways.
Stardew Valley does have an official merch store, so that isn't to say there's absolutely no other monetization going on.
She kinda ignored the ones that don't monetize in other ways, but here's what I have to say. I don't understand the Sims community's preoccupation with how Paralives is gonna make money. Were you guys not alive circa 2005 AD? Because there was a time when a single game was released and that was it. It actually still happens to this day. No Man's Sky, Terraria, Stardew Valley, Hollow Knight, Project Zomboid. None of these games have paid DLC and they're still supported by developers with free updates. This is how you can spot a Sims player in the wild, because they've all been shampooed and conditioned to expect and even desire DLC.
So part of the shock around Paralive saying they'll never have paid DLC, I think is because we're so used to paying for this type of content.
They literally think it's unusual when a game doesn't charge you for DLC or have a million microtransactions. And as much as I love the older Sims games, EA has been milking Sims players for years and has essentially programmed them to believe that a single game having dozens of DLC that cost hundreds or $1,000 is normal and acceptable, and it's not. But on the complete other end of the spectrum, we have people complaining that Paralive's $40 early access price is too expensive. And look, I'm not in the business of shaming people who think something is too pricey. You're allowed to feel that way, but I don't think $40 is excessive, and I'm not sure how it being an indie game means it should be cheaper. This game has been in development for 6 years, and as we know, they've promised to provide free updates and DLC to players for years to come. That more than justifies the $40 early access price tag in my eyes. There's also quite a few people complaining about Paralive's art style, and if you followed the game before, this isn't news to you. It has a very distinctive art style, and of all the complaints, this is the one I kinda understand the most, because it's just personal preference. I personally do not care. I still play games to this day that by today's standards look like shit. I'm not saying Paralives looks bad, but just because you don't like the art style doesn't mean the game isn't good or that it's less fun. I saw a really interesting video the other day titled "Paralives is Doomed."
If you're gonna be a Sims competitor, you need to fucking compete. You can't compete by limping out of the starting gate saying, well, we'll catch up eventually. People want to see you overtake now.
And by the way, no hate to this creator. I really love when people give their honest opinions about things like this online, especially when it's like an unpopular opinion, because we don't really see that a lot in the live sim community. And in this video, he does make some solid points, but he compares Paralives to Inzoi and The Sims 4 on a few occasions.
We got kind of mad that The Sims 4 came out half finished, remember? So you could argue that was an early access concept and everyone hated it. I've spoken to people who have tried Inzoi, who were so excited for Inzoi because they were so tired and bored of The Sims. And that's 2 life sim games now that promised to beat and compete with The Sims, who've both come out with half-finished products.
And I simply don't think that's fair. I actually made a whole video about this, but historically, indie studios have used early access as a way to fund game development and gather player feedback in a way that involves using way fewer resources. And that's what Paralives is doing. It's an indie company. But The Sims and Inzoi are made by multi-billion-dollar companies, not indie studios. Inzoi's early access and Paralives' early access are not comparable. But I do agree with him that people are inevitably gonna be disappointed with Paralives. I've been making videos about live sim games for long enough to know that this community has a tendency to get really excited and hyped about a new release, and they create these unreasonable expectations in their heads. And when that game doesn't live up to their expectations, they lose their shit. This literally happens every time a Sims 4 DLC is released.
Hopscotch? Oh my god. Oh my god. I think it's real, Tenant. This is like top 3 dream pack for me right now.
It's one of the worst packs since my wedding stories in terms of being severely broken.
So in the end, I really don't understand some of this outrage by the Sims community. There are people who will love Paralives, but the game was made by like 10 people, even fewer for a large portion of its development. It's not going to be anywhere similar to a product made by a billion-dollar company like Inzoi or The Sims. And if you haven't noticed, I've sort of been changing up my video format so that I can give you more content. So get used to seeing this mug because I'm still extremely uncomfortable. Also, I'm thinking about doing a series every week. Like, what is the Sims community upset about now? So let me know if you're interested in that. And if you want to know what I'm upset about, my last video flopping. So please check it out if you haven't. It has drama, it has memes, it has me, and that's a big deal. What is going on? Because usually, I make people pay to see that. Just saying.
Thought she said something to me. We were never friends, told them I am not your buddy. Now they all call, I got some buzz like honey. Then they check the Spotify and they looking at me.